In this video, I'm going to chat about the sine bar. So what I want to do is just show you what the sine bar is, what it's used for, and then why we need to do calculations, and then how we're going to do those calculations in Excel. So I'll start at the plate, and then I'll switch over to a screen capture and show you how to do all this in Excel. Now, this is our sine bar. It's a very precise piece of inspection equipment. It's made to very, very tight tolerances. You can essentially consider it perfect, okay? Unless you're measuring stuff down to the millionths of inches, the sine bar is basically perfect, okay? How it works, if we put it flat on the table, this should be dead parallel to the table. If you notice, it's got two rolls right here. They're designed to form a point of tangency with the table, so they're only touching at one point. We use what are known as gauge blocks to slide under one of the rolls so that we can lift one side up to form a known angle, okay? So you could imagine there's a triangle here between the top of these gauge blocks going down to the bottom point of that roll there and then back over. Now, the distance between the two rolls is fixed. This one is a 5-inch center distance. Sine bars come in a couple different, 5 and 10 inch being the most common distances. We're going to consider that the hypotenuse for our triangle here. The gauge blocks we'll consider the opposite side. So as the name suggests, we'll use the sine function to figure out how many gauge blocks we need to get the angle we want. The angle we want is going to come from the drawing. So it'll either give it to you as in degrees, so a degree is with a plus or minus, or a basic dimension, or linear dimensions where you got to go figure out what the angle is, okay? As far as the gauge blocks go, I'll show you how to get the right number from the Excel calculator. It's going to give you a number, 1.213 inches, whatever it is. You got to go through a set of gauge blocks like I have here and stack them up to equal the number that will give you the correct angle. Now, this isn't a video about gauge blocks, but what I will say is you want to use as few gauge blocks as possible in your stack up. Gauge blocks are really precise to like a millionth of an inch, okay? But if you stack 20 of them together, you start to get a variation, right? Not just in the actual size, so maybe one's plus a millionth and another one's plus a millionth. You could get a piece of dirt in there, you maybe didn't put them together correctly. It just increases the risk of having variation in your measurement. So right here I have like a 1 inch, a 1/4 inch, and a 100 thousandths, 3 gauge blocks. Shouldn't be an issue. Now, we'll set this up, right? Put it right on our gauge blocks. Now when we go to check a little part like this, so we're checking this surface, we'll set it up like so that this surface right here is set to the correct angle so that this surface is now parallel to the table. So we could bring in our indicator and run it over the top of that surface and get a reading. So that reading can help us find out whether the angle is correct. It could give us angularity tolerance if we need it. We could use it for a profile tolerance or flatness, okay? So a lot of different things a sine bar can help us just for inspection. Now, you can also use it when you're making parts to set up correctly and, go ahead and remember which gauge blocks you use to set the part up, so you can use the same gauge blocks to inspect it later on. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and switch over to Excel, show you how to do the calculation for the gauge blocks. The benefit to Excel is that it's always perfect. Formula never changes. You're never going to make a mistake as with the calculator or with pen and paper, okay? So I'll move over there right now. H is going to be sine of this angle opposite over hypotenuse, okay? So how we do that in this calculator, we're going to type in the degrees we're looking for. So I've got 1 degree right here, sine bar length right here, 5 inches. Now, we have to convert the degrees into radians in Excel. So the way we do that, and I'll just do another one down here. We'll do equal sign, radians. I can just double click and select it. We'll select that degrees, that cell, close parentheses, hit enter. And that's going to give us our radians. And I'll move these decimal places back a little bit. Okay, and let me center this. Now, the gauge block height, we're going to do sine of the radians or the degrees, okay, times the sine bar length right here. And I'm going to hit enter. That's going to give us the correct height of the gauge blocks we need. So I'll do that. Equal sign, sine, parentheses. So we're looking for the sine of these radians, which is this degrees, close parentheses, times the length, and hit enter. So we got the exact same value. It's good. I'll move these decimals back a little bit. Now, we could just punch in whatever degrees we want right here and use the calculator like that, right? But we could also, if you needed to, you can copy everything down. So I got 1, 2, 3 here. I'm just going to copy everything and it's going to enumerate these for me. And I'll just fix this formatting real quick. I want it centered. Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way down. I'll fix this real quick. All right, so you can get a whole chart of all the degrees you need, and you could do it in half degrees as well. So check this out. I could do 1 degree, 1.5, 2, 2.5, pull this down, and Excel is super smart, and it'll figure out that you want it in half degree increments, okay? So let's optimize this calculator a little bit while we're here. It's not really necessary to have the radians in its own column. It just, you know, when you're starting out, it's good to separate your functions so you can find any mistakes. What you could do here is instead of going from radians to degrees, you can just get rid of this and then do the radian function inside of this function. So we're going to do the radians of this angle, close parentheses, inside of the sine function. That'll give us the same answer there, and then we no longer need that radians column. Okay, and if we copy this down, we'll get the same thing. Right, so we've eliminated a column entirely. We could also get rid of this column as well, okay? So if you notice, this 5 never changes. Each of these is going to be relative to the 5. So when you pull down a formula, it's by default going to be relative. So we can make that absolute. So a lot of times what you'll do in a spreadsheet, you'll have a fixed variable right here. So say length 5, I'll put it over here. Now what I'll do, instead of referencing the 5 from this formula, I'm going to reference it right here, and I'm going to do $ in front of the letter, $sign in front of the number. Oh, that's not a $sign. $sign. Okay. Now when I pull this down, it's always going to be referencing right here. So if you notice, the blue will go to the degrees, right, for our function, but the length always goes up to here. So if you got a 10-inch sine bar, right, you can just punch in right there and it'll change them all at the exact same time. So we could get rid of that whole column as well. So for this function, you really only need to punch in the degrees. You only really need 2 columns going on. Okay, so that's it. Just wanted to talk about a quick sine bar calculator. It's good to use Excel once you get the formula correct. You've got basically unlimited decimal places to work with here. Excel's very, very, very accurate, and you're not going to make a mistake by doing it on pen and paper or with a hand calculator with Excel. Okay, so if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, comment below if you have anything to say about Sine Bar setups.